Before I start this video, I would like to give a massive shout out to my Patreons, and if you would like to join my Patreon, please check the link in the description. Hello ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to Nerd Den here once again, and in today's video I am going to be doing a ranking video. Yes, a ranking video for all of the Doctors in Doctor Who. But this time, there's a little bit of a twist. There is going to be a ranking video with every single Doctor, not just the main canon Doctors, but also the Morbius Doctors, the Timeless Child Doctors, and every other Doctor in between. So with that being said, we are going to be ranking them all from tiers S to D. Obviously, S being the top, the favourites, and then D is being the lowest, the awful ones. So let's get into it. So we're going to be doing this all in chronological order. So the Timeless Child Doctors are all going into D tier because I generally do not see the point in them being here because, yeah, they were awful. They were awful. And nothing ever came out of their roles. The Morbius Doctors I'm going to rank a little bit higher because, you know, I mean, they look cool. They look cool. And I wish we got to see more of them. I actually like that one a little bit more. Like, he looks a lot better. And this guy as well. Like, yeah, I would like to see more of the Morbius Doctors, but sadly, not. We have not seen any of them. Then we get on to the Fugitive Doctor. The Fugitive Doctor, played by Jo Martin, hasn't had a lot of screen time, but she's getting her own Big Finish series. She's had her own comic series as well. And I've got to say, I like her a lot. I'm going to put her in the A rank because I've got to say, she was really good. I just wish she got more screen time. And I reckon with more screen time, if I have a look at my bottle of water, she would have had a lot more love and probably a lot more, you know, yeah, like she would have been higher on this list. But I know, yeah, she's had a lot of fans love her, but there is a lot of, you know, people saying she should have had more screen time. She deserves her own live action spin-off, in my opinion. And then we move on to the First Doctor. The First Doctor, I'm going to put him in the B category. Now, I love every Doctor in one way or another, but the First Doctor, it was very grouchy, and yeah, he could also be fun as well, especially in later seasons. However, his personality, I don't know, like, he didn't really fit it for me, but I'm glad that he exists, obviously, because without people loving his role, we wouldn't have the show today. But for me, personally, I'd put him in the B category. The Second Doctor, I'm going to put him in the S category. I loved the Second Doctor. Patrick Troughton knocked it out the park. He really did a good job in terms of, like, you know, continuing the show, because without Patrick Troughton, you know, continuing the role and doing an amazing job, we wouldn't have had a Third Doctor, a Fourth Doctor, etc. Like, the concept of regeneration wouldn't have been expanded upon, and let's be honest, the show wouldn't be here today. So I am glad that the Second Doctor was amazing. He was kind of like a template for some of the other Doctors as well. And yeah, I'm glad that he came back as well in a few other episodes, like the 3 Doctors, the 5 Doctors, and the 2 Doctors. You know, it was really cool to see him come back as well, a lot. The Third Doctor as well, I'm going to put him in the S category. I really like the Third Doctor as well. He did an amazing job. I really love him, especially like he was more action orientated in some parts as well, and also in his tenure there was a lot of you know, new elements that were introduced at the time that have continued to become like the core part of Doctor Who today, like the Master, Gallifrey being confirmed to be the Doctor's planet, multi-Doctor stories, Omega, the Silurians, the Autons, etc. And a lot of that comes from his era. That's probably why I connect to it a lot. Now this one, the Fourth Doctor, I'm going to put him in S as well. Despite me not liking the later seasons of his era, I've got to say I still do love his Doctor overall. And for me and many others, he is iconic. And he is arguably up there as, you know, being alongside David Tennant as being visually represented as the Doctor. When you think of the Doctor, in my eyes, you think of one of them two, because they are icons in their own right. Then we move on to the Fifth Doctor. Now, the Fifth Doctor, I've got to say, I I'm going to put him in B. Because I don't, obviously, you know, hate the Doctor or whatever, like this incarnation. Because the Fifth Doctor, just like all the others, they're pretty cool. However, the Fifth Doctor, I don't know. Like, from the serials that I've watched, there's only been a few that I've enjoyed. Like, Earthshock was okay. Obviously, it's more well known for its ending. However, stuff like his first episode, Crash and Alva, and all that, I didn't really enjoy it personally. So that's why he's going to be. Now, the Sixth Doctor, I am going to put him, in terms of his TV stuff, in C. And it does pay me to do that because I'm obviously doing this mainly off the TV stuff. But the Sixth Doctor, I didn't really like a lot of his TV stuff, and that still stands true after rewatching a lot of it. Obviously, I do love his Big Finish stuff a lot more, but in terms of TV, I didn't really click with him, unfortunately. And as much as I love Colin Baker, yeah, his TV stuff wasn't that good for me personally. You know, don't argue with the comments or whatever, but yeah, that's my ranking there. The Seventh Doctor, I'm going to put him in A. I did like him a lot more, especially after his first season was out the way, and he got Ace as a companion. I feel like that was such a beautifully done duo, and I wish we had more of them on screen together, because Sylvester McCoy and Sophie Aldred worked so well together. The Eighth Doctor, the next one on the list. Now, TV appearances, obviously Big Finish, yeah, he's done a lot of amazing stuff, a lot of good stuff. And in my opinion, I am going to put him, just based off TV, I am going to put him in the B category. Because I love Paul McGann in Big Finish, and I feel like that's really revitalised his role and has given him the fan base that he has had. But the TV movie, I don't think is as bad as people are saying, but it didn't really explore a lot of his, attributes and stuff like that. I mean, a lot of it, he had amnesia. And then even if I put the Big Finish stuff into consideration, and the comics, he also had amnesia a lot in that as well. Like, he just seems like the Amnesia Doctor, which is a shame. But if he came back for the 50th, like, instead of the War Doctor, I probably would have ranked him higher, because Paul McGann is a really good actor, and I wish that he had, like, a live-action TV spin-off that would push him up on the category. The War Doctor. Now, I am going to be very controversial here. I'm going to put the War Doctor down here. Yes, I know, I put the War Doctor down at the bottom alongside the Timeless Child Doctors. What? Nerd Den, what are you doing? Now, the War Doctor, is a bit of a tricky one for me. And the only reason why I am putting him so low is because the War Doctor was introduced to show the events of the Time War. And I've got to say, in terms of the plot, the Time War, I feel like could have been done better, but obviously for budget reasons, we didn't really see like the full, lengths of the Time War. However, when it came to, previous references showing that the Doctor was, capable of killing and stuff like that, we never saw that with the War Doctor. And I wish that we saw that, because he's the War Doctor after all. Like, he didn't really do much. He acted like the Doctor throughout the episode without calling himself the Doctor. That's all it was. And I wish that we were able to see some of that, which is a shame, because John Hurt was an incredible actor, and it does kind of like make me feel bad for putting him so low on here. But for me personally, the War Doctor, I didn't really click with either, so that's my opinion. Please don't go mad. Now, the Ninth Doctor, straight up S category, beautiful from start to finish, a well clear story arc. And to be honest, as much as I would love to see him come back, I feel like the Ninth Doctor is pretty much like one of those one and done incarnations. Like, he had his story set out. He was the epilogue of the Time War. He met Rose. He got reintegrated into society and helping people. And he was done. And his arc was resolved by saving the one person that he cared about so much. Now, the 10th Doctor gets two entries here. So the 10th Doctor, the original one, is from Christmas Invasion all the way to the Stolen Earth, where he is shot and proceeds to regenerate into the second one. Now, they're both going to go S category for me, because they are still both the same incarnations, but they're not at the same time, because it counted as a full regeneration. But due to the meta crisis, they were able to keep the same face and personality. So yeah, they are pretty much equal. Obviously, the second incarnation ran from Journey's End all the way to the End of Time Part 2. And yeah, he had obviously equally as good stories there as well. So that's my opinion. Now the 11th Doctor. The 11th Doctor. Hoo-hoo, here we go. The 11th Doctor, I'm going to put him in the A category. Obviously, the 11th Doctor, I loved Series 5. I really did. Series 5 for me was like a masterclass of a series. Series 6 is where it started to lose its way for me, with the Silent storyline and River Song being Amy and Rory's daughter, and then the whole regeneration thing as well that was going on with Melody Pond and all that. And then Series 7 was really weak across both parts. But then obviously the 50th specials did redeem his Doctor in my eyes. So I'm still going to hold him up to a good degree, alongside all the main cast throughout his era. Like, they were all really, really, really good. But unfortunately, due to the weak storytelling, I'm going to put him a little bit lower than the S-tier Doctors, in my opinion. Now, the 12th Doctor, I'm going to put in the same category, pretty much for the same reasons. Series 8, for me, like his first series, was a masterclass. Series 9 was kind of like the mid-week point, but there was still quite a good few episodes in there. And then Series 10, I didn't click with at all, except for the finale. If I'm being completely honest, I have not really touched Series 10 that much, apart from watching the finale again. So, yeah, the 12th Doctor is, again, for that reason, staying in the A category. But still an amazing incarnation, and Peter Capaldi is such a tremendous actor. Now, the 13th Doctor. Now, my opinions on Jodie's Doctor has changed a lot since first broadcast. When I first watched her era, I wasn't a fan of it at all. And then obviously there was the gap years and stuff like that, and I did kind of fall out of love with Doctor Who. But then things changed. Series 12 was a step in the right direction, and then obviously there was some controversial stuff. And then Series 13, Flux, came around, and I enjoyed that, except for the finale. And for that reason, I'm going to put Jodie in the B category. Jodie, for me, there is certainly a lot of untapped potential, but I do feel like the longer she stuck around she got better, in my opinion. And yeah, I do really like that Jodie was, able to explore her Doctor a little bit more in Series 12 and Flux. I just wish that we could have seen more of her, and maybe just have one more season with her written by Russell T Davies. I feel like that would have been amazing. And then we've got the Master Doctor. Now, the Master Doctor, the Master Doctor, yeah. So, Sasha's Doctor that appeared in The Power of the Doctor. I'll be honest, it was a cool concept, but looking back on it, it would have been cooler if, instead of Sasha playing the Doctor, maybe we could have had someone like Matt Smith playing the Master, but also being like a darker version of the Doctor, where they've got all the Master's morals, but also existing as the Doctor. I don't know, that would have made more sense in my head, but he didn't really do a lot, if I'm being honest. He just, I'm going to put him in C, but he didn't really do a lot. He just used the TARDIS and went to that planet that was being destroyed. So yeah, there weren't a lot of his plan that made sense, especially after he got what he achieved. And the second 13th Doctor, I'm going to put her where her predecessor is, because it's exactly the same, obviously. And then we move on to the final two. Now, it's a bit hard ranking these, but the 14th Doctor, I'm going to put in the A category, because I haven't seen him on screen fully yet. I know there's a lot of the 10th Doctor mannerisms. However, I'm not going to jump on and put him on the S tier yet, because I haven't seen him on screen. And even though I am a huge fan of David Tennant coming back to play the Doctor, the 14th Doctor, though, is still something I can't get my head around. Obviously, I'm not going to deny its existence like some people do online. But, I don't really know too much about it yet to put it in the S category. And also, I don't know, it just seems too nostalgia for me with the RTD1 era from what we've seen with the 60th, though. Hopefully I'm proven wrong. And then the 15th Doctor, played by Shuta Gatwa, I'm going to put in the same category as well, just because I've seen Shooter Gatwa in Sex Education. I thought he did a really good job in that. And then obviously seeing him promote the show so far, it looks like he's a fan of the show, a really good fan of the show. And I feel like that is a good thing for us to have. And hopefully he continues to knock our socks off. And I do have a good feeling about him, I really do. And I think he is perfect casting. So yeah, with that being said though, thank you very much for tuning into today's video. If you are new around here, be sure to subscribe for more nerdy content, as we are on the road to 10,000 subscribers, which I would love to reach by the end of this year. But with that being said though, leave a like rating, subscribe, and I'll see you all next time. Goodbye for now.